Hey everyone, it's Rob Ryder on Sunday, the 8th of December, 2024. And today, Major Pete Hegseth, escort MPs to the Senate Secretary, sir. Be advised that individuals who avoided the United States loyalty oath are impersonating as senators. Also, that Esquires advocate for the overthrow of our constitutional form of government. And disloyal federal workers swear an oath to a trade union. And that's where you're walking into when you go in that Senate building. All those things would apply. And I know that you have a 100-man SEAL team that's got your back, but they need to remember the bonus army. From the 1930s, when some veterans had legitimate gripes, went about it the wrong way, and the president told the Army to disperse the veterans, and the Army carried out the frickin' order. And some veterans died, and so, we don't need to do that, brothers and sisters. We need to use the UCMJ. That's the only way any of this is ever going to get fixed is when we use the UCMJ, which obviously the Secretary of Defense has a lot to say about. And so, Major Pete Hegseth, if you ever make it to Secretary of Defense Hegseth, then, a lot of things need to change for the system to work the way it should. And who's telling you that? Well, I am Lusky Robert Allen. DOD ID number 12112800006. Sir, I'm an indefinite enlistee in the Armed Forces, United States. I've never been discharged. No enlistee's been discharged, sir. We're all still in. And we are therefore subject to the UCMJ. And because we're subject to the UCMJ, then we have the right to use the UCMJ to file charges and specifications. Under Article 30 of the UCMJ, anyone subject to the chapter can file charges and specifications. But I'm being denied, and I'm sure the 100-man SEAL team, they're being denied. But if we could find a way to use the UCMJ, sir, and you were to be able to talk to a general court-martial convening authority and convince him to establish a court of inquiry, this Article 140 or something like that, or 139, 140, to investigate, they could send MPs or the provost marshal, whatever the proper term is, CID, somebody could go to the Senate's secretary and subpoena the records to make sure that the senators executed the only oath that satisfies the 6th article of the Constitution. And having been at this for quite some time, sir, I can tell you, well, they haven't done it. Right? And so that's where we're starting. You're going to answer questions to people who are pretending to be senators. That's all I can tell you. They actually use a different constitution than the Constitution that's in the Manual of Court Martials. Again, something you're going to be over. The Manual of Court Martials, that's yours. In the Manual of Court Martials, under Appendix 1, is the Constitution of the United States, and its 2nd article, first sentence, says that the executive power resides in the President of the United States. Well, my oath as an enlistee says I'm going to take the orders of the President of the United States, so that's all good. But the Congress, the Senate, the House, the administrative state, basically, in theirs, in the same sentence, it says the executive power resides in the President of the United States of America. Well, that's different than the United States, sir, so it ain't the same. And on top of that come inauguration day, that the Esquire, John Roberts, is going to tell President Trump, I, Donald John Trump. And that's exactly what Donald John Trump would say. And he would have done it wrong because that's not the way that the oath is written in the 2nd article. There's no place to put your name in. There's no place to put so help me God at the end. And yet it's there, so it's a false oath, sir. So, shit's going on, and I'm tired of being lied to. So you're the closest thing I got to power, other than, I won't say that now. So happily, J.D. Vance could be the vice president. He's even closer. And so as an enlisted man talking to an officer, sir, I can tell you that the only thing I've ever needed from an officer is his signature. And really nothing's changed. I could take care of this problem myself if somebody just signed the damn papers and let me do it. Just give me an order, sir. Everybody will follow it. They'll do whatever the order says. You just need somebody to carry the order through. So anyways, I have a lot of things I want to show you that will prove the statements that I've made. And, maybe the 100-man SEAL team can find a way to get me to talk to you, sir, for just enough time for you to see the light. And then we can both be on our way doing whatever's next. And with that in mind, hang on just a second. Well, hey, let's start here because it was divine intervention that made this available. Yesterday, somebody posted this online, sir, and this is a commendation medal for you. They'd like you to believe, where it says First Lieutenant Peter Hegseth. But that really isn't the name that you have your commission under. It's, I think your middle name is Brian, isn't it? Peter Brian Hegseth? That's how it would be. Right? They didn't use your proper name, so it really isn't for you. It's for a fiction that they want you to believe, is representing you. And then if you look down here, there's a place to have, 2 signatures, and there's only 1 signature on it. This gentleman here, he may have been the commander, but his signature needed to be attested to by the clerk. That yes, indeed, he did that. And the most egregious thing, though, sir, is that this seal right here is no longer valid. Right, that didn't come from anything to do with the Army that we know of today. That may have been the granddaddy, but it's not the Army today. See, this is what's on your certificate, United States of America War Office. But it says this was dissolved 77 years ago. And we have this now. This is the emblem of the Department of the Army, derived from the seal of the U.S. War Department. So if the institution that you signed a commission to serve with is one giving you the certificate, then it had to be using the proper seal, which is this one now, not this one here. That's all I'm saying, sir. Right? You were bullshitted. Go figure. You see, at some point in your career, like at the very beginning, you would have filled this document out for your oath of office and filled in, check the boxes, check. Who are you? Then you'd have put I with your first name, middle name, last name, no place for any initials, sir, and your social security number, because that's the authenticator for, well, which Hegseth we talking about? Well, the one with this social security number. Right? That's the authenticator. So this is the way it should be. But this isn't the name that's on your certificate. And so I say you've been, you and anybody else getting accommodations, you've been lied to. It's really that simple. And so speaking of oaths, well, this is the oath that you would have taken, which is it's the verbiage out of the oath in 5 U.S.C. 3331, which says this is the oath for commissioned officers to take, and it has "so help me God" on it. Well, they'll tell you that you can take that off, but it's still a religious test. So this oath cannot be used to satisfy the 6th article of the Constitution, because you can't have an oath with a religious test in it. It's really that simple, right? So this isn't, even though this is the oath that like J.D. Vance will take as a senator, and all the congressmen will take, and all the senators will take, this verbiage, the exact same verbiage, they won't put their social security number in, but it'll be the same verbiage, is not an oath that's taken by members of Congress. It's for commissioned officers and members of the civil service. There's a different oath to be taken, and I'm going to show you that. This is commonly referred to as 1 Stat 23, which is the very first law signed into law after the ratification of the Constitution, signed by George Washington as president. And it says that the oath or affirmation required by the 6th article of the Constitution of the United States shall be administered in the following form, to wit, I, A, B, do solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that I will support the Constitution of the United States, period. No place to put on "so help me God," but there is a place to put your name in. So you would have to put in there, I, Robert Allen Retluski. right? And now, is that what the A is, and then the B is my authenticator, where Social Security number, da 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 da, or DOD ID number, whatever, whatever we need to authenticate who the I is, because there's a chance there is another Robert Allen Retluski, even though it's a rarity, but stranger things have happened, so they have to have an authenticator. Anyways, this is the oath that has to be taken, and this is not the oath that's taken by the members of Congress or the people who claim to be the members of Congress. They're really not senators, and they're really not representatives. They're just impersonators who assumed the office, but they weren't qualified for the office. They may even have been like an elect, but they're not qualified because they didn't take the oath. I don't know what to tell you, sir. But we allow it to happen. So, if you're not going to enforce the first law of your country, well, why would anybody follow any of them? And especially when it has to do with oaths. If I got to follow my oath, I expect the people in Congress to follow their oath. And if not, well, then they're the ones that are warring with the Constitution, and I'm here to tell you about it. So let me show you how they do the enlisted, right? I was prior service. When I went back in, I did another DD Form 4, which is the enlistment re-enlistment document, Armed Forces of the United States. I have a contract with the Armed Forces of the United States. On this document, I signed it, and so did they. There we go. Check, check, check. Everybody sign. It's all in. Okay, and who is that with? It's with the Armed Forces of the United States. Well, if that's the case, then, hang on here. Why is it they give honorable discharge certificates from the Armed Forces of the United States of America? Can you tell me that? I don't have a contract with them. I don't know who they are. Who are they? Who is the United States of America? I say that is the administrative state, if we need to give it a name. United States of America, administrative state. It's not United States, the thing that was created by the Constitution. It's a derivative caused by the Civil War never being ended with the peace treaty, or Article 2 of the Labor Code's never been satisfied. We're still under martial law since the Civil War. Never ended. Here's another one that's kind of interesting. In the state of Michigan, we have the Great Seal Act, right? And it says the Great Seal is going to have the words, shall appear the words, Great Seal of the state of Michigan. Da, 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 da. Notice there's no the at the beginning. And so guess what happens, though, when you go and look at one? The Great Seal, United States, or of the state of Michigan. All in uppercase instead of all lowercase, like it just said to do in the law. And this is what, Gretchen Whitmer, the imposter governor of Michigan, is using. With her conspirator, another Esquire, Benson, right? This is the thing. Esquires, all Esquires belong to a organization that advocates the overthrow of our constitutional form of government. One of the things we're going to look at here in just a second. But why can I say that? It's because when they join the bar, they voluntarily join the bar, and the bar requires them to pay a dues that they can spend the money on things they want to, and the members don't have anything to say about it. They can't speak up against it. Anyways, it's been long settled that that's the way it is. So if you are going to be the member of an organization that takes away your rights, you're a member of an organization that advocates the overthrow of our constitutional form of government. You need to go. Another thing, sir, this is out of the DOD Law of War Manual. I mean, this is your manual. You're the man in charge of the DOD Law of War Manual. And in this manual, it says under 943, issue identification card to persons liable to become POWs, right, that the card must show the owner's surname, last name, comma, first names, first and middles, right? So no initials. They'd have to say Retluski, comma, Robert Allen, with the rank, Army, regiment, personal serial numbers, or equivalent information, and a date of birth. There's no date of birth on a military ID card, right? So the DOD is not issuing a card that satisfies the requirements of its own manual, and that manual is written the way it is so that it satisfies the Geneva Convention. Is that the one? Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Each part of the conflict is required to furnish persons under their jurisdiction, same information, right? Date of birth. The ID cards that the DOD is now furnishing to members of the military violate the Geneva Conventions, making everybody a war criminal. See how easy it is, sir? Just don't pay attention to the jots and tittles, and look what happens. I believe it was on Barracks Wall someplace where I read, "The devil is in the details," and I remember that ever since. And this is exactly what it is. I mean, you, Mr. Secretary, you got an instruction manual how this is supposed to be done. What's so hard about following the instructions? This is probably my most lucky thing for me is I worked in a nuclear power plant for 6 years, and there they hold you accountable. You have to sign your name on shit to say that you did it. Right, so like this instruction, right, we should just be able to go through it and start checking boxes, make sure everything's done, and at the end, well, you would have a proper ID card. If it doesn't happen, well, somewhere in there, somebody did not follow regulations, and according to the UCMJ and my oath of office, or oath of enlistment, not following regulation is a UCMJ violation. So I want to file charges. I can't get a freaking ID card. But nobody has one. No SEAL team member has a proper ID card. How about that? Hey, SEAL teams, you do not have a proper ID card. You're being sent out. If your ID card doesn't have these attributes, right? Owner, surname, first name, no initials. Your Army, or your rank, your Army, regiment, personal or serial number, like it could be your Social Security number, could be your DOD ID number, and a date of birth. If they don't have that on there, Special Forces, all you guys being sent to the field, then you're being sent with a ID card that doesn't provide you any protections under the Geneva Conventions. And the reason they do that is they want us all to be lost. This is the point. I'm still in the military, but I can't get anybody to buy it because it won't, show you the records. The administrative state is standing in the way. So speaking of those regulations just for a minute, sir, Army Regulation 600-8-104 has to do with the Army Military Human Resource Records Management. Any other branch, just take Army off, put your branch on, you got the same thing, right? Like Navy Military Human Resource Records Management. We all have this series of records. And it says in this regulation, sir, that when we're talking about this AMHRR, the AMHRR is the historical and authoritative source for authentication of a veteran or service-related benefits, entitlements, and services. So nothing else other than this AMHRR can define what is mine according to the military. And they will not show this to you, so you can find that out. They are going to be working for you. They are federal employees who took an oath to a trade union. We'll look at it in just a second. But anyways, this is really that simple, right? AR 608-104 says that only this right here, only the AMHRR can tell what needs to be told to me so I know what's mine. Right? So you can't hold it from me. To not do what this regulation says is a violation of UCMJ. But they won't show it to you. And they give you an ID card that doesn't have your date of birth on there. Think about it. And as far as the UCMJ, well, there it is, Article 30. Charges and specifications may be preferred only by a person subject to this chapter, and shall be preferred by presentment in writing signed under oath before a commissioned officer of the armed forces who is authorized to administer oaths. And there's a list of them somewhere else. So, we're all subject. We should be able to use this. We shouldn't be trying to use the civilian courts to get this figured out. Use the military courts. Right here, Pete. Person subject to this chapter. The members of the regular component of the armed forces, including those awaiting discharge after expiration of their terms of enlistment, volunteers from time of their muster or acceptance into the armed forces. Well, I'm a volunteer, and I'm mustered in, and so I'm still in. And I've not ever been discharged. Trump said that we've been at war since December 7th, 1941 in the Legion Act. And because of that, sir, it's been one long war. And in Title 10, United States Code, Section 506, it says once you've enlisted during a war, you stay enlisted until either the president terminates your enlistment or Congress ends the war, neither of which have happened. Salute the flag and pay me my back pay. Give me my ID card. I'm going to file some charges and specifications against people that are corrupt in the government, and all this shit will take care of itself. That's how we should handle our business. But if that wasn't enough, well, how about this? Then the voluntary enlistment of any person who has the capacity to understand the significance of enlistment in the armed forces shall be valid for purposes of jurisdiction under the subsection. And a change of status in civilian members of armed forces shall be effective upon the taking an oath of enlistment. So a really good example of this is is right here in Hacksaw Ridge court scene, right, where Dad is a veteran who came into a court martial in a ongoing court martial of his son, and was told by the court martial holder, the commander, that, well, you can't be here. You're down. And anyways, he ends up convincing the commander, no, I'm still in, sir. And so the commander takes his information, and well, the rest is movie history. Hacksaw Ridge. In fact, this whole scene is really good. Like, these two guys switch places and so forth, and how he got the letter in the first place by asking 3 times, right? He's got a spirit tested 3 times, and the lady finally let him take it to the general. I watched the movie. If you want to know more. And just really quickly, we're going to stop by and look at Title 2 of the United States Code that has to do with the Congress. And very early on, we'll see that in, so 2 USC subsection 21 is the oath of senators. It talks about the oath and so forth that they're going to do. And it references 1 Stat 23, which is the oath that we just looked at. Right? 1 Stat 23 is pretty clear. Well, they're talking about 1 Stat 23. That's the oath they're supposed to take. However, when you listen to them, because they don't do it quite the same for viewing purposes, I guess, with senators as they do with the Congress or with the House of Representatives, but you can hear them speak the oath, and they speak the oath that's in 5 USC 3331, the same oath that a commissioned officer takes. They're not taking the oath in 1 Stat 23. And we go down here now, we're going to talk about the members of the Speaker and so forth, the representatives, right? 1 Stat 23. So it says, signed copies or certified copies thereof, or of each such record thereof, shall be admissible in evidence in any court of the United States. What is they're talking about? We're supposed to get 2 copies. Let me just start here. The clerk of the House of Representatives, the 8th and each succeeding Congress, shall cause the oath of office to be printed, furnished 2 copies to each member and delegate who has taken the oath of office in accordance with this law, which shall be subscribed by the person, in person by the member or delegate, who shall thereupon deliver them to the clerk. One to be filed in the records of the House of Representatives, and the other to be recorded in the Journal of the House and in the Congressional records. And such signed copies or certified copies thereof, or of either of such records thereof, shall be admissible in evidence in any court of the United States, and shall be held conclusive proof of the fact that the signer duly took the oath of office in accordance with law. Or not, if you can't find it. Right? There's supposed to be a copy of the oath in 1 Stat 23 that they subscribed. That is the records of the House of Representatives, the Journal of the House, and the Congressional Record. We're all supposed to have a copy of it. Go find it, sir. Go find a copy of the oath in 1 Stat 23 that these people took. And when you do, you can say, well, I guess then they're members of Congress. But if they didn't, then they're not. And they're not alone. So under the 6th article of the Constitution of the United States, it says that this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which 1 Stat 23 is one of them, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties, that would be the Geneva Convention, which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. In other words, it's the supreme law, sir. And it says that the senators and representatives before mentioned, that's what we're talking about now, and members of the several state legislatures, well, we know who they could be, and all executive, A-L-L, all executive and judicial officers of both the United States and the several states shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support the Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Well, there you have it. And yet they all say, so help me God, and put it in their oath. So they're not taking the oath that satisfies the 6th article. That was decided by the first Congress. So, well, here's the oath to satisfy the 6th article. If you're going to hold one of those jobs, this is the oath you got to take. And they're not. So instead of like executive officers of the United States, which the Commissioner of Internal Revenue Service, we should say, well, that's an executive officer of the United States for sure. He falls under Article 6 of the Constitution. He needs to take the constitutional oath that's in 1 Stat 23. But he's not. He's taken this bifurcated example of the oath that's in 5 U.S.C. 3331, but it's been bifurcated. And he's using the middle initial. He's not using his full legal name. And there's no seal. And. And this is what the administrative state does, right? Anybody who's a federal employee has filled out a piece of bullshit like this, and it has no legal value. They've not taken the oath that they're required to take. It's not an option. It's mandatory. If you don't take the oath, you could be found liable for treason. So, sir, AFSCME is the largest labor union of federal workers. Like 800,000, they claim, something like that. A whole bunch of them. Guess what they have in common with the United States? Let me show you. They have their own constitution. American Federation of Government Employees, the AFL-CIO. If you did any research on the AFL-CIO, you would find out, well, they both had ties to the Communist Party. And in fact, the CIO, they had people in there where they said, well, you got to, rescind your office in the Communist Party. They're actually, communist card carriers. And they refused to do it. So they said that they were let go. Maybe they came back. Who knows? Something happened. All I know is, hey, they have their own constitution. Let's go look and see what's in this constitution that could be of interest to us. Well, looky-see, we have an oath of union officers. Okay, well, you want to be a union officer, they're not really working for the government, right? They're not the government employee. They're an employee of the union office or the union. But they have one for union membership where it says, I, state your name, of my own free will and accord, do hereby solemnly promise and pledge my honor I will be loyal and true to the American Federation of Government Employees, AFL-CIO. And it goes on, and I pledge my loyalty to the government of the United States. So nowhere on here are they pledging loyalty to the Constitution of the United States, which is what I took an oath to. I took an oath to the Constitution of the United States, not the government. the Constitution. They're taking an oath to the government. So who's ever, running the United States is who they're taking an oath to, whether it's a communist party or, communist China, whoever. We're taking an oath to you. Because they're going to do it on their honor. And it's really interesting, the definitions you can find for honor. This would come straight out of Webster's 1828, where one of the many definitions of honor is laws of honor among persons of fashion signify certain rules by which their social intercourse is regulated, and which are founded on a regard of reputation. These laws require a punctilious attention to decorum and external deportment, but admit of the followest violations of moral duty. In other words, it's the administrative state. It's all show, and everything that is done behind the scenes is immoral. They lie, cheat, and steal. You can't be trusted. They're Esquires. Can't be trusted. Not all of them are Esquires, but most of them are Esquires. And we're going to finish with Esquires in just a second, but we have to start here. See, this is the executive grant of clemency from Joseph R. Biden Jr., who says he's the president. Well, if he's the president, how come he didn't use the president's seal? He used the Department of Justice seal. Doesn't the president have his own seal? Well, of course he does. Seal of the President of the United States. But that isn't the seal that was used. Joe Biden did not use the seal of the President of the United States on this piece of paper. He just put Department of Justice. I don't even see where it says United States Department of Justice. It just says Department of Justice on there. It just seems so wrong to me, sir. I wonder if there is a chance that we can have this looked into. And see, he claims to be the President of the United States of America. Well, I didn't take an oath to the President of the United States of America. I took an oath to the President of the United States. It's in the oath of enlistment. Please look at it. It says President of the United States. So does the manual of court martials in the second article of the Constitution. It says President of the United States. If you look at the rules of the Supreme Court, it'll tell you that the process from the Supreme Court issues out in the name of the President of the United States. Don't say a damn thing about no United States of America. In fact, let's look at the U.S. Court of Criminal Appeals, which you're going to have jurisdiction over, sir. U.S. Court of Criminal Appeals. Here's opinions of the court, and who is the plaintiff? United States. Now, here's an example. United States Army Court of Criminal Appeals. United States. Well, why is it then that on indictments from the United States Court for the District of Columbia and any other district court as far as that goes, it says that the plaintiff's the United States of America? United States of America against Stephen K. Bannon, which of course that's not his full legal name. It's Stephen Keith Bannon. But if you agree to be the fiction, then so be it. If you agree to be not guilty, you're the defendant. And in our system, once you're the defendant, you have to prove your innocence. So I'm telling people, look, if you ever have to deal with this shit, you just deny the charges. That's one of the pleas you're supposed to be able to give. There's like 6 pleas that you can give, according to the back of the Michigan ticket, right? So deny the charges. To prove my point, here's the state of Michigan uniform law citation. This is what they give you for a ticket. And this is a multi-page form. It's got 8 pages, but it's basically 4 different things with the same stuff on the front and different shit on the back. And one of them, when you get down here, it says it's the court copy. Where are you? Court copy. Right here, court copy. It has on here the different pleas. You can admit, deny, guilty, not guilty, mute, no contest, admit with explanation. Well, if you admit or plead not guilty or not guilty, not guilty, you're agreeing to be the defendant. And once you're the defendant, now you have to prove you're not guilty. But if you deny the charges from the beginning, well, now they have to prove that you are the defendant. And this is the point. They don't use your name. It's a scheme. Anyways, nevertheless, Stephen K. Bannon was just spent 4 days or 4 months in prison because of this. So, you may want to know something about it and do something about it. But we go down here, and now it says that the attorney for the United States was Matthew M. Graves. Now, there's not a chance in hell that Matthew M. Graves is the name on somebody's certificate to be licensed to practice in the court. So let's really quick go find that case, sir, in the United States District Court for the District of Columbia. If you have a PACER account, this is where you would go to when you click on this document filing system thing here, and have to wait until it does its thing. And then click on Query, and it'll take you to this page, and you can go down here and we'll just put in Bannon, Bannon. That's what we're looking for. Just Bannon, that's enough. Let's see what we have. Well, hey, we got a whole bunch of them, right? Got Stephen K. He's involved in quite a few things, but one he's a defendant, another one he's a non-party respondent, the other one he's a respondent. Let's look at the one he's a defendant in. Bannon, Stephen K. What says select a case? Stephen K. Bannon is a defendant in 2 cases, but they have the same case number. How can he be a defendant in 2 cases with the same case number? Isn't that like double jeopardy, being tried twice for the same crime? But there it is. I mean, I didn't say it. The freaking system said it. PACER says it. Stephen K. Bannon is a defendant in 2 cases that share the number 1:21 CR 00670 CJN. Yeah, I wonder if that's the same thing that's on this. Well, 121 CR 00670 CJN. Sure enough. So Stephen K. Bannon is being tried in 2 different cases at the same time. This is the one that doesn't have the -1 on the end. I don't know where the other records are for the other one, but you can click on it, and what happens? You start looking. You're looking at the same records I'm showing you right now for this case. And just really quick at a couple other pieces of paper from the one case, not knowing where the other one is. But remember, there's 2 cases going on at the same time, even though we're only seeing paperwork for one. And Stephen K. Bannon, which is not his full legal name, is the defendant. And the United States of America, which is not the United States, is the plaintiff. So this is some made-up administrative jurisdiction where an attorney named Amanda R. Vaughn that doesn't have an attorney number, which they're always supposed to put on their documents, where's your bar number? Because there is no Amanda R. Vaughn. It says printed name and bar number. Where is it? Right? They didn't have it, but didn't call them on it, so she gets to slide and just pretend that she's made an appearance. What else we got? Oh, and then we got this here, which is somebody who was retained. You're hereby notify up here for the defendant indicated above. So David, see, he put his ID number, but he used the middle initial. I just wonder if that's how his other paperwork looks. And finally, here's this one. Now, here's notice of appearance of M. Evan Cochran, or Corcoran of some company, LLC, as counsel for defendant. Sorry, you agreed to be the defendant. Now you got to prove you're innocent, Stephen K. Bannon. It's impossible because Stephen K. Bannon doesn't exist. And as it turns out, if you go to the court's website, United States District Court, District of Columbia, under must be our attorney information, you can find this thing where it talks about their admission. It says, hey, they got to fill out an application. Okay, well, let's look at it. Sure enough, we got an application to fill out. And it'll clear up in just a second. So Stephen K. Bannon's counsel has to have filled one of these out, have it filed with the court. And part of it is it's got an oath on the end. Oath of admission. Okay. So, if he has done that, according to the website, it says you can go, right? You can go to bar member, attorney information lookup, and put in their names, which I did. And it turned out there's a Matthew Evan and a Matthew, or a Michael. Well, Evan was because it was M. Evan last name, from Silverman, Thompson, and so forth. Let's put these two things together. So I copied and pasted that and put it on a piece of paper with the information from the other one and say, well, what's different between the two? So this is what's on file on the left. This is on file with the Supreme Court or with the District Court. Matthew Evan Gorgoran. There, I got it out. Jeepers. Silverman, Thompson, Slupkin, and White. But there's no LLC on the end. So that's different. And here it's just M. Evan. And M. Evan has a different address than Matthew does that he gave the court. Well, that has to match. You know, if you're that person, how come it doesn't match? So as you can see, Matthew's got some explaining to do to Stephen K. Bannon because he really didn't represent him the way he was supposed to. I mean, had he been working for Stephen Keith Bannon, he could have said, well, brother, you're a member of the military. You should just tell him you can't be tried by an indictment. It's in the Constitution. Well, if you're in the military, you can't be tried by the Fifth Amendment. Indictment by a grand jury. You have to be court-martialed. Right? So what should have happened is if somebody had a beef with you, they had to go to the military to have you released to the civilian court. And there would be a paper trail for that. And, of course, there isn't. Of course, Stephen K. Bannon doesn't exist. So, you know, the Esquire that pretended to be your counsel got away with it because nobody was actually who they said they were. You know, the judge isn't taking the oath to satisfy the Sixth Article of the Constitution. He's the judicial officer of the United States. He didn't take that oath. I can show it to you. Where's your copy? So, yeah, that's what we're talking about. So as you can see, Pete, no matter how hard you try to do the right thing, the administrative state screws it up by making an administrative error or omission in a record. In this case, they omitted your middle name. Or, as I say, it's really your first name. You don't have a middle name. My first name's Robert Allen, so therefore I'll never have a middle initial. And they put it on a form. I mean, they're just blatant as can be. This thing has been out of funk for 70 years, according to Wikipedia. And it doesn't have a attestation on it, and so forth and so on. And welcome to the administrative state. These are the people you're going to be dealing with at the Senate's offices, right? Where there's individuals who avoided the United States loyalty oath and impersonated senators. Where there's Esquires who advocate the overthrow of our constitutional form of government. They're all over the place. And there's Disloyal Federal Workers who swore an oath to a trade union. Right? And you got a bunch of Navy SEALs that say they're going to, come to D.C. Well, good for them, brother, but don't be the bonus Army. Don't get shot. Don't make the Army have to shoot you. All right, that's wrong. It's two wrongs don't make a right. We need to use the UCMJ. We need to be smarter than they are. Because they left us plenty of information of where their errors are. You just can't go to a civilian court. We got to go through the UCMJ. You got to take it to a general court-martial convenient authority and get him to sign a fucking order. If you can do that, well, it'll all take care of itself because there's nothing more powerful in the world than a signed military order in the hands of a freaking NCO. We'll carry out the order, sir. So, yeah, get some NPs. They'll go down there and dig through the files, get some proof that these people have it, and, your what is it they're trying to do? Decide. I can't remember what the word is they use. But you'll be approved much quicker, sir. Anybody Trump wants will be approved without any problem. Just go tell them the truth. Don't do what they do. Be the truth teller. Very good. I'm out of here. Thank you, sir, for listening, and I hope I get to talk to you sometime. Have a great day.